Out on a limb is the theme tonight, and yeah, I think there's kind of 4 ways we can get ourselves out on a limb. There's probably 4,000, but I'm only going to mention 4 right now. There's the cool hand Luke method of saying, I could do that, and you kind of walk out to the end of the limb. There's the serendipity type of way of people kind of dance and sing and skip their way out. That's nice. I've done that too. I says Kathy Ike has done that also. There's the cautious type of sort of kind of 1 foot in front of the other, measuring the tensile strength of your intentions with every step. That's the cautious approach. Who's going to pay the rent? And then there's just finding yourself out there because circumstances change or weren't what you thought they would be. I've been kind of at a loss for which of these. I've been out on a limb so many times, and none of them really have great endings because I'm always out on a limb. But I'll tell you a story or an incident that happened about, I think it's about 30 years ago. Everything was in black and white back in those days. Color had not been invented. A friend called me, and he said, we're making a group, putting a group together to go out for lunch at this very famous restaurant in Otsu. The owner of the place had been affiliated with a very prestigious restaurant, the name of which I will not tell you, in Arashiyama. And she went from there, she went into the convent, became a nun, and then opened a restaurant in Otsu. He said, we're putting together 20 people because she's going to give us a special deal. Did I mention you're not going to believe this story? You should never do that before you tell the story, but it's pretty. So he said, well, let's go out there, it's really special, and let's go. So I said, okay, we'll go. He says, yeah, she's making a really special deal. It's only 10,000 yen a person. I do not spend 10,000 yen for dinner on my birthday, even if it's on Christmas or New Year's, but this was 30 years ago. But anyway, we went for it, my wife and I went out there. And we went into the room. It was a very ordinary looking place from the outside. We went in, there was a big, there was a garden, and tatami rooms around the outside. And when I walked in, some of the people, some of the 20 people, none of whom I knew, were already seated. The nun owner of the place was sitting in the center of the room with a garden to her back, so no one was behind her, and she was the centerpiece of the day. She was about 70 years old. She was small, head shaven, jimbe, the typical priestess nun workwear, would you say? And she had no teeth on this side of her mouth. She had been struck by a truck, I understand, and she was crippled. And so she was sitting on the floor, and there she sat during the whole thing with her crippled right hand up against her chest like this. But she was amazing. She immediately locked the whole group of us. She was the star, unabashed star of the show, of the day. She was more than the lunch. I'll also tell you that because of the things that transpired from now, I don't remember when exactly we ate. But we did eat. I do remember a couple of the dishes, but she took the place over. When we walked in, 3 of us were foreigners, plus my wife, and she said, oh, haro, which of course, oh God, here we go. But she was so cool about it. And when we went over, we automatically went over to shake her hand, and she offered us her hand, and it was like this. But then it was cool because she talked about hanging a lantern on your disability. She brought it out, there it was, take it or leave it, that's who I am. She said, that's where everybody relaxed, and we were sitting there. So as we're eating, or trying to eat, she just continued with this monologue. There was also, one of the guests was a young Thai nun, a beautiful woman. She was, I wouldn't know if I saw her on the street, but she was beautiful in the sense that, as John Cheever would have said, she had a face upon which nothing was written. Just beautiful, clear, pure face, innocent. And she spoke some Japanese. Now the nun here, the owner of the restaurant, started to talk to her, and immediately there was this magnetic thing that happened between them. And we found out that she had been 12 years old when she went into the convent, and she was 22 years old now. 10 years of those years of her life, she was an innocent. The nun here, I'm trying to see how this transpired. The nun that we were, the owner of the restaurant, who was, again, gesticulating and laughing and cackling with her teeth, all just great. She said, I was reading the newspaper the other day, and I read that last year there were, 10,000 or whatever, I don't know the number of unwanted pregnancies in Japan. I think it's awful that this country has come to this, that people would get involved in a situation where they would become pregnant and not want a child and so on and so forth. She said, what would you do if you became pregnant? And she pointed to this Thai nun who just died. Her ears got red and she buried it. And she said, oh, no, that could never happen. No, that could never happen. This was beyond her vocabulary to even put the idea of pregnancy into her innocent, sweet, innocent, beautiful face and head. And she says, no, that could happen. She says, no, that's not true. It could happen. Who can tell me here in this room, and she's taken the place over there, who in this room can tell me what is not possible in this world? Who can tell me that? And of course she was right, but she didn't have any fans at this point. But we were all sort of gradually moving out to our respective limbs, and going, oh God, here we go, what's this going to turn into? And she continued, no, I can't do it. So you know that in Japan the expression is the customer is God. She said, get out. The place was stunned. It just was a vacuum. She said, get out. Give her money back and get her a taxi and get her out of here. They did. She was helped up and walked out. And we could hear, we were all stunned. It was in the Genkan, which was over here, the entryway. We heard all the mumblings like, but all these apologies and all these things of trying to smush it over so it would be okay when it left. But we hear the door slide closed. And we're still waiting for the other shoe to drop. And then she continued to carry on like nothing had happened. And she said, who brought her here? And I hear someone say, Tanaka's on here. And she says, Tanaka, get out here. And so Mrs. Tanaka comes sliding out on the floor and kneels next to her like with her head bent over like a lamb to slaughter. And she says, why do you have any nerve to bring a person like that to my restaurant? You should be ashamed of yourself. She's nothing. She doesn't know anything about life, and you bring her here and blah, blah, blah. She says, I said, I'm so sorry. She says, get out. And she hands Tanaka something. This really did happen in Japan, I promise you. No one ever believes this story. They gave her money back too. Get out, she said. So now, that's not the unbelievable part of the story. No, and I'm sorry, I don't care if you don't believe me, because I can lie. But my wife is where she won't lie. Is this so far true? Yeah, okay. So far. I thought maybe it was that little purple pill, Yeah, so we're sitting there, and now, as I said, the room is a vacuum. There's no air in the room now, and we're wondering, what is this room going to do? I mean, we can't even get up to leave. I mean, that was just stunned. Everybody was sort of checking their postage in their neighbor, What does she do? She says, and she's fine. She's just looking at, something. I went to the doctor last week, and he told me that the reason I have such young breasts is because I never had a baby. And she opens up her vagina, and she flashes her anatomy to us. And she was right, by the way, if my memory serves me correctly. I averted my eyes very quickly when that happened. It was hard, but here is this woman she's 7 years old, and all of a sudden, wow, yeah. Can you unring a bell? No. And that we all jumped onto the opportunity of breaking the ice. Now the air was over, there was air in the room, people were laughing, so we all jumped on that, like we were rats, and it was the last, what do you call it, a rescue boat leaving from the Titanic, and we were all on that thing, and we all laughed and we paid our money, and we laughed. And that's really basically the story, except I was standing on the platform. We were taking the train out, standing on the Otsu platform, just stunned, like there had been a big explosion, and we're standing there, and I looked to my side, and there is this middle-aged woman who had been there, and she just sort of looks at me, and she sums it up in one word. One word. She just says, "Sugoi." That's the story, and it's true.